When people talk about the Ohio players, they often talk about the fire, the grooves, the hits, and the attitude. But behind that fire was a sound that was cut through the music like lightning. That sound came from the horns, and at the center of it stood this man. As a key member of the Ohio players, he helped shape the band's explosive funk identity, delivering trumpet lines and brass arrangements that gave their music power, drama, and urgency. His name may not be widely as recognized as the hits, but his sound is impossible to ignore. This is the story of a musician whose trumpet helped define one of the greatest funk bands of all time. The centerpiece of today's video is all about Ralph Middlebrooks. Now, if you guys love my videos and love supporting me, then I suggest you become a member of the channel where I will be releasing exclusive videos just for you all. Be sure to get that family tier so you won't miss out on these exclusive perks. If you guys would love to connect with me outside of YouTube, then I am officially announcing that I am on Discord. Here, you can provide me with feedback on my recent uploads, you could drop your suggestions for future videos, or if you just want to chat it up about videos or about music in general, or just about anything, we could do it here. We could do it together. I hope to see you there. Now, before we start, let's be sure to leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, and push that notification bell to be sure you won't miss out on any more content. Now, without further ado, let's cue that intro. When people talk about the Ohio players, they often mention the hits Fire, Love Rollercoaster, and Funky Worm. But behind those records was a sound that gave the band its muscle, drama, and unmistakable punch. At the center of that sound was a man who was a master of brass and arrangement, who helped shape one of the most explosive funk bands of the 70s, even when his name stayed in the background. Ralph Middlebrooks was born on August 20th, 1939 in Dayton, Ohio. Middlebrooks came up in a musical environment where discipline mattered. Like many horn players of his generation, his foundation was built on jazz, marching bands, and formal training. The trumpet wasn't just an instrument, it was a voice, and Middlebrooks learned how to make it command attention. This grounding gave him the versatility to move easily between jazz phrasing, solo arrangements, and the aggressive attack funk demanded. When Ralph Middlebrooks became part of the Ohio Players, the group was evolving from a regional R&B act to a national powerhouse. But before they became the legendary Ohio Players, they was known as the Ohio Untouchables, and initially included members Robert Ward, Marshall Jones, Clarence Satchel, Cornelius Johnson, and Ralph Middlebrooks. They were well known at the time as a backing band for the Falcons. Ward was proven to be unreliable as a leader, and occasionally he would walk off stage during the performances, forcing the band to stop playing. Eventually, the group decided to continue playing even after he left. This resulted in Ward and Jones getting into a fist fight in 1964. In that group, they split up. Ward discovered additional backup players, and the group's key members returned to Dayton. They replaced Ward with a 21-year-old Lee Ward Boner, who would become the group's frontman, and they added Gregory Webster. To accommodate Boner's musical style preferences for the group, and to avoid competing with Ward, they changed the group's entire format. By 1965, the group had renamed itself the Ohio Players, reflecting its members' self-perceptions as musicians and ladies' men. Later came notable members such as Junie Morrison, Billy Beck, and James Diamond Williams. The band wasn't just about grooves, it was about impact, and that impact often came from the horns. Middlebrooks helped define the band's brassy, hard-hitting sounds, sharp stabs, explosive accents, and horn lines that hit like punctuation marks inside the groove. What separated the Ohio Players from many funk bands was their arrangements. The horns didn't just sit on top of the rhythm, they interacted with them. Middlebrooks' trumpet work brought urgency and drama, giving songs a sense of lift and aggression that made them feel unforgettable. On tracks like Fire and Skin Tight, it wasn't just dance records, there was sonic experience, driven in part by bold brass statements. By the mid-70s, the Ohio Players was at their commercial peak. Gold records, platinum albums, and nationwide recognition. During this period, Middlebrooks was part of a band operating at full power, tight confidence, and fearlessness. The horns became a signature, the sound became iconic, and Middlebrooks was a key architect behind it. Unlike frontmen or lead singers, horn players often operate outside the spotlight, even when their contributions are essentials. Ralph Middlebrooks was one of those musicians whose influence was heard more than he was seen. But among musicians and funk historians, his role has always been clear. It was core, not optional. Music history has a habit of focusing on the faces rather than the frameworks. Yet funk, especially at its highest level, depends on musicians like Middlebrooks. Players who understand dynamics, timing, and restraint just as much as power. Without the horns, the Ohio Players wouldn't have sounded the same. Without Middlebrooks, that horn sound wouldn't have hit as hard. Sadly, on November 15th, 1997, Middlebrooks passed away at the age of 58 from cancer. Today, Ralph Middlebrooks is recognized by those who truly study funk. Collectors, musicians, and fans who understand the great bands are built from the inside out. His trumpet helped define the sound that still moves dance floors, still gets sampled, and still represents the raw energy of the 70s funk. Middlebrooks may not have been the most famous name associated with the Ohio Players, but his work is stamped into their greatest records. Every blast of brass, every sharp accent, every movement of tension and release. He was an unsung architect of funk and a vital voice of the Ohio Players' legacy. Now, before we go, I have a question for you all. What members of the Ohio Players that you would like to see a tribute video on?